Hello everybody, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on this Gradcracker webinar with Siemens. During this webinar, our aim is to find out more about Siemens. We will talk about who they are, what they do, and also what opportunities you, our STEM students, can apply for this year on Gradcracker. We will then speak to the students about what life is like for them, what projects they have worked on, if they're involved in networking groups, what training and development they have received so far, and also their future plans. We will then end the webinar by discussing the recruitment process and giving you an idea of how you can be successful during that process and also when you start your career at Siemens. So let's meet Siemens. So Amy, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Amy is the Candidate Experience Consultant, that's a mouthful, and will be giving you an insight into Siemens and the roles which are currently live on Gradcracker and also the recruitment process. And we've got a brilliant mix today. So we're joined by degree apprentice Ben, intern of the year at Siemens, and Anya, and also graduate Valeria. So thank you all for joining us. And we're going to listen a little bit later on to all of their backgrounds, all of their experiences, and what they're going to get up to in the next couple of months. So Amy, I'm coming to you first. So can you tell me a little bit more about you and your role at Siemens?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. It's lovely to be here today. As Carla mentioned, I'm currently a candidate experience consultant, which definitely is a mouthful,
It is.
with the Siemens UK recruitment team. I actually began my journey at Siemens as a HR intern.
Yeah.
So it's now very full circle for me to be here today and speak to you all about potential opportunities to kickstart your careers. And I hope everyone finds this webinar fun and insightful.
Yeah, absolutely. They sure will, Amy. And Amy's a success story. And so Amy will be giving me definite hints and tips about how you can be successful during your career at Siemens because Amy is successful herself, which is really nice to hear. So Amy, tell me a little bit more about Siemens as a business. I mean, you are huge. You do lots of things. So in a nutshell, can you put it in a nutshell what you do?
Absolutely. And as you say, I will try and keep my explanation as brief as possible, as we're a global technology and engineering company, and we operate in over 190 countries, which is huge. And that means we have lots of different businesses within Siemens that all do and make different things. So I will give you some of the highlights today. So part of what we do is we help factories and businesses run smarter by using automation software to make things faster, safer, and more efficient. We also make buildings and cities more intelligent by connecting energy systems, lighting, and safety tech to create comfortable and sustainable places to live and work. We also operate in the rail industry. However, not in the typical way some of you may be thinking of. Rather than building infrastructure itself, so the trains, the stations, the tracks, but actually the technology behind the trains. And we even offer financial services and solutions. So the list goes on, we cover a lot. And despite the large scale, what's really lovely about Siemens is the amazing people culture, which you'll have a chance to hear more about today, I'm sure. We have employee networks, including a network dedicated to bringing our early careers community together, a lifelong learning culture, and our early careers professionals are also given 5 volunteering days each year that they're encouraged to use in charities and communities they feel most passionate about. We're also sustainability mad. If you want to have a look at our degree framework to learn more, but some of our long-term targets include sending 0% waste to landfill by 2030, and the big one is achieving net zero by 2050. But regardless of all that, fundamentally, our early careers community underpins everything we do as our future generation of talent.
Absolutely. And I know I've worked with Siemens now for about 15, 16 years or something like that for a long time. I've done lots of webinars with you guys as well. And you are a massive global company. You do lots and lots of things, but I always think it comes across as part of these webinars how you're like a little family. So, like the early careers community is like a little family. Amy and her team stay with you throughout your early careers journey as well. So that's it's a really good way to start your career as a graduate, as an intern, or as a degree apprentice. So Amy, we've mentioned that your roles are currently live on Gradcracker. So we do have a mix. So there is definitely something for everybody. But just so the students know who are watching, you've currently got 3 degree apprenticeships in a mix of different disciplines, so software manufacturing, rail, a mix of 11 placements across the board, so sustainability, you mentioned that you're sustainability mad, and R&D, engineering, and some graduate opportunities as well. So give everybody a bit of a flavour, more of a flavour about the opportunities which are available this year.
Yeah, so as you've mentioned, we've already got a handful of roles live.
Yeah,
However, that is just the surface, and we've got
yeah,
lots more to come, which is the exciting part. So you can expect roles to be posted throughout October, but especially towards the back end of the month. Definitely keep your eyes peeled. So we'll have lots more opportunities going live. To name a few, we'll have sustainability, cybersecurity, IT, finance. Again, the list will go on, and there'll be lots more opportunities being posted. So please watch this space and keep making sure you're checking on the Gradcracker Hub regularly.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Amy. So the message there is there's some opportunities open now for you to apply for. So go and have a look after this webinar and go and see what's available. But also it is worth following Siemens on Gradcracker to be alerted when the new opportunities open. So Amy, just so people know who are watching, can they apply to more than one opportunity, or do they really just need to focus on that prime opportunity that they want to apply for?
Questions. So, absolutely, you're more than welcome to apply for more than one opportunity. All the roles get treated as separate pipelines of applicants. So, if there's more than one role that takes your fancy, please feel free to apply. But as advice, please make sure there's still quality going into those applications, as that's
Yeah.
how you're more likely to be successful. So, quality over quantity, but don't feel limited just to go for one role.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you, Amy. So then my message would be, as I've just mentioned, about if there is something there that you want to apply for, make sure you apply for it sooner rather than later. And then what you can then do towards the end, so when you do open up your other opportunities, is apply for those other ones as well when they do open. Amy, we've got a variety of locations on the call today. So what are the locations for your opportunities, and are they hybrid? Or are you in the office?
Absolutely. So there's lots of locations, probably more than I can mention. So it's definitely worth looking on the Gradcracker Hub. But we've got Manchester, Farnborough, Hebburn, Poole. They're probably some of our main hubs. But as I say, we've got lots of different locations that will be advertised on each role. So definitely keep a lookout for that.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of hybrid, yes, most of our roles, office roles, are hybrid. So we require 2 to 3 days per week in the office as a minimum.
Yeah.
But that is really important because it supports your in-person learning and networking as an early career.
Mhm.
So we find that being physically present helps our early careers professionals to build relationships, experience workplace culture, and develop professionally through informal learning as well.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much you can pick up through ad hoc office conversations.
Yeah.
But our factory-based roles are on site 5 days a week, and this is due to the nature of the work, needing access to on-site equipment and technologies, and how that's essential to carrying out the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Amy. And all of these details are on the job descriptions that Amy and her team have put together, including locations and more details on there as well. So make sure you thoroughly research the job description before you put in that application. So we are going to come back to Amy mid-presentation, not the end, mid, to find out a little bit more about the graduate programme and the actual opportunities that are available to our students to apply for. But for now, I'm going to say thank you to Amy and come to you, Sophie, to speak to the rest of the panel.
Thank you very much, Carla. Thank you very much, Amy, for the brilliant introduction. Yeah, I'm really excited to find out more about all of your journeys at Siemens so far. So I'm going to dive right in with yourself, Ben. can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role at Siemens, and kind of what your day job is?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, hi everyone, I'm Ben. Hope everyone is having a good afternoon. So I am currently a fourth year engineering degree apprentice, and I'm currently based in a department called technical support. And I think the name gives quite a good gist of what we're doing. So we have customers phone in with requests. Basically, they've got problems, and it's sort of like a problem solving sort of job. So we've got to try and help them and support them in trying to find the root cause of the issues. And so I work in the digital industries part of the business. So that's due to that's working with factory automation. So we're working with equipment like motors, controllers, and stuff that's working in the factory. A bit of a background as well to my apprenticeship. So I do a whole first year at college, and then after that I do block release. So I do 2 weeks, 4 times a year, in my second and third year, and then the rest of the time I'm just at the workplace.
Fantastic. And you're in your fourth year right now, Ben. How long is the whole degree apprenticeship?
So fourth year, final year, 4 years in
Final year.
total. So I should be finishing probably June time next year, around that time frame, give or take, depending on when we do our endpoint assessment, which is the exam for our apprenticeship.
Amazing. And what is your degree qualification? What degree will you end up with at the end of this?
Yep, so we will have a control and automation engineering degree, which is quite nice. It's tailored essentially towards what I'm doing in the workplace as well. It's co-developed by Siemens and the University of Salford, so it's nicely tailored to what my job place and my job role currently is as well.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you very much for the introduction, Ben. I'm going to shoot across to Ananya now. So, hi, Ananya. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are currently at university, what you're studying, and what you've been doing with Siemens, please?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. It's amazing to talk to all the potential coming grads, apprentices, and interns. And talking about me, I am currently a business IT intern / working student. Sounds a bit, bit confusing, but it's just due to the fact that I ended my year-long industrial placement that we all do between our second and last year of our university. And I finished it back in August. Now I'm staying on for my final year and doing a part-time at Siemens within the Siemens IT. So what is Siemens IT is our customers is Siemens internal employees, and we are corporate IT. We provide IT solutions to our business units and our employees at Siemens. And we develop, like these days, our projects are like AI adoption and all of that. We'll go on to that later. But yeah, it's been since September 2024. I've been a part of Siemens, and it's nothing less than joy. It is fun, and you feel like a part of a family. So it's amazing. I can go on forever, but but it's a nice opportunity. And right now I am in my university completing my final year. So if we talk about my degree, I am doing business computing and IT. It's a bachelor's course, and it's a 4-year course, including the placement year that I did at Siemens. And right now I'm in my final year, finishing it off. So kind of excited.
Wow.
It's gonna finish in July 2026. So yeah, that's where I am.
Amazing. So at the moment, you are working remotely for Siemens, aren't you? So you're back at university at Aston.
I'm back. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm back at Aston University based in Birmingham, finishing off my final year and working 2 days a week with Siemens.
Fantastic. Nice balance there. But I bet you feel very busy with everything that you've got on your final year as well.
Yeah, no, but that's also a fun of it, just to keep myself busy. I'm personally a person who seeks out to get more work. So this was perfect for me to balance off with my university, because as many students who are watching, they know that university is not all 5 days a week. It's like 3 days, 2 days. So rest of the days you need some work to make your CV out there shining. So that was the perfect thing for me to do and consider.
Perfect. And that is the perfect attitude to have as well. That, you know, you take as much work as you can, get the experience. And obviously that's worked out really well for you. As obviously Carla mentioned in the introduction, you were intern of the year at Siemens last year. So obviously being recognised for all that hard work that you're putting in. We're going to come on to that a little bit later on. But Ananya, just first, can you just tell us a little bit about your placement, where were you based for that placement year before coming back to university?
Absolutely. So I was based in Poolside, which is in down south of the UK. So we have corporate IT in there, and we sit there. All of the corporate IT that at Siemens sit in Poolside, and we have hybrid working people who work from their home, and we have some people at office who work on site. So that's where I was based before moving back to Birmingham from a university.
Lovely. And were you in the office full time when you were down there?
Yes, so initially you stay in office, and I recommend it highly. I know hybrid sounds fascinating, but at the same time, you can't get enough when you like work on site. It's another whole lot of experience. But later on, I did 3 days in the office and 2 days working from home. So it was hybrid working culture.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think that's a really good point. And obviously, Amy mentioned it as well, that being in the office, getting to know people, learning from other people is really invaluable at the early stage of your career. So I'm glad you kind of reiterated that there, Ananya. So we will be coming back to you shortly to find out more as well. But Valeria, I don't want you to feel left out. So I'm going to come and talk to you now. So you are a graduate at Siemens. So can you tell us a little bit more, a bit of your history, where you went to uni, what you studied, and what you're doing at Siemens now, please?
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Valeria. I did my bachelor's in electronic and electrical engineering at the University of Birmingham. And then I became a graduate, engineering graduate at Siemens Mobility 14 months ago. So I was recruited to work in the new HS2 project, which is the new high-speed train between London and Birmingham. And we've been very good at securing lots of projects. So I started my work with working for the systems that are going to be in the stations of the HS2. So the public address systems and the consumer information displays. And now I'm moving to another HS2 project, which has to do with transmission networks, security systems, and the radio systems.
Fantastic. And where are you based, Valeria?
I am based in Ashby, de la Souche.
Which is near Leicester, Birmingham, and Nottingham. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
We just found that out 10 minutes
I know,
ago.
I literally just found that out.
Because
Because I was just saying that Ashby de la Souche is a really difficult place to say. So I'm sorry for making you say that out loud, Valeria.
That's fine.
But no, also just learning about, different locations where you're based, because you were saying that it's really easy to get to different cities for, kind of all the bright lights and stuff. So no, that's great. And so you joined in September 2024. How long is your graduate program?
So I'll be in my graduate program for 2 years.
So this time next year, you'll have come off the program.
Yes.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to circle back around now just to talk about in a little bit more detail about, day to day, what you've been up to, projects and things like that. So Ben, coming back to you, 4th year. So I imagine you've done quite a lot in 4 years. Tell us a bit more about maybe some of the key projects that you've worked on or key highlights since you've been at Siemens.
Yeah, so I would point out first, despite the fact my program's 4 years, the first year of our apprenticeship program is full-time at college. So
yes, okay.
We're studying towards a HNC then, so didn't get too much workplace exposure, apart from maybe in the half terms and times off from college. And then in the 2nd and 3rd year, we do rotational placements. So we do 3 months in different parts of the business. So we have sales orientated placements, more technical based placements, and we also join the training department as well for a little bit. So we get given a variety of different projects. So these have come from like market research to programming to hardware configurations and all that sort of stuff. So we get a nice little exposure and variety. And then from there, we're able to choose where we enjoyed and for us to do our final year placement. And as I mentioned before, I'm in technical support right now. And sort of projects I can tell you that I've been involved with. We have in the Manchester office, which is where I'm based, it's the headquarters, and we've got sort of a digital experience centre, we call it. So it's a room which we use to demo Siemens kit and give tour guides to potential customers or early career professionals or schools and etc. And in that room, I was tasked with basically improving a wall. So without going too heavy into it, it involves designing and like electrical equipment and then programming and all that sort of stuff. And it's good because it gives you a nice little overview of all the different skills you need. And for our apprenticeship, we need to hit certain standards, and it's perfect for that sort of stuff. So we need to be able to show that we're doing programming, we're doing electrical maintenance, and project design, for example.
Okay. And when you finish this technical support placement, which is your final placement, what would you like to do from there? Are you going to stay in that team, or are you going to explore different areas of Siemens, or what's your kind of plans after the apprenticeship's completed?
Yeah, so I'm looking relatively short term now. All that I've got in my head is just finishing. But I think I'd like to stay where I am. The good part about the apprenticeship is we're able to try and find a place which we enjoy and where we want to stay. And I think the good thing about technical support is we get all this information coming in, these questions every day, and half the time I really don't know myself, and I've got to go away and learn it. And I think it's a really good place just to learn, starting off particularly. And over a year or so, I think I've learned a lot, but there's a lot more to be learned. And I think technical support is the place for me for the time being, just to learn, essentially.
That's great. And again, a great attitude to get all that knowledge in, because I can imagine, because you're having to deal with so many different types of people, different technologies all the time, you're getting a really, really good grounding of a lot of different Siemens products and areas. So I think that's a great place, or it seems like a great place to kind of start your career off with Siemens. And just kind of going back to what you've been doing. So you've got a real mix of, you know, being at college full time, then mixture of workplace and college. What's kind of training and development opportunities have you had kind of internally at Siemens outside of that more classroom based? How does that work throughout the degree apprenticeship?
Yeah, so like Amy mentioned before as well, we've got 5 volunteering days a year, and we're heavily encouraged to use them. So we get exposure to different sort of training. And we also have different professionals come into the business. So recently, I think it was probably just over a month ago now, we had a professor come down, and he discussed basically how to exert your presence and your influence in a room and that sort of stuff. So we're not just learning academic skills, but we're learning soft skills that are very important, such as presenting, which is a very important skill to need. And also, I'd mention outside of college, we also get exposure to different training courses. So we have different learning platforms we can sign up for, but we also in Siemens have our own training department in digital industries, and that's called C-Train. And within that, we get different programming courses and all that sort of stuff as well.
Fantastic. So access to a huge amount of support and training throughout that program as well. So that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Ben. Sounds like you've had a really, really amazing 3 or 4 years with Siemens so far, and learn a lot, and obviously been given a lot of support. So that's great to hear about how that degree apprenticeship works. And Anya, I'm going to come back to you now to find out a little bit more about your experience. So, as you mentioned, you're business and IT intern, now part-time intern working student. Tell us a little bit about what your internship involved. So that sort of 12-month placement, what did you get up to in that time?
Yeah. So first of all, when you're an intern, no one is expecting you to know it all. Like, you can be a person. I came straight from uni. I had no corporate experience. So first of all, it was me just trying to adapt to office culture, which no one discusses that much, but it's a big part of being in a corporate world. To be a part of an office culture, you just get to go, show up every day, talk to people. That's the first thing that you learn to communicate, how to communicate with your other colleagues, with stakeholders, and then you get involved into with your manager and your team. So then you sit in a team. So my team's name was Use IT. That was making IT employees, like employees in Siemens, to use IT and make themselves the best of they can be, using all the new technological tools out there. So one of the projects that I was involved was Gen AI adoption project. So we know how ChatGPT, all these AI, Gemini AI are out there. We had our own GPT called Siemens GPT, and we did the adoption for our Siemens employees to start using Siemens GPT as a part of their life and make their workflow easier. So we did webinars which had like more than 600 people at time, 800 people at time, and we did demos. And it was an exciting project because there were so many people who were so reluctant, or like, oh no, I'm not going to use AI in my work. I've been part of Siemens for like 20 years now. I don't need AI. But seeing them growing into a person who adapts, and that's the beauty of Siemens too. Everyone is willing to learn. It's just the first hitch of like, oh no, I don't want to learn it, and then getting them to use it. And it's such a gratifying feeling. So that was the project that I was involved in. And the other project that you involved as an intern is the intern collaboration project with other interns all across UK. So I was in a part of intern group where I had interns from Manchester side, from Farnborough side, and we worked on a project called Brand Ambassador Project. So that was a very exciting project that I was involved in. And it was about like authentically like grow Siemens presence on LinkedIn or like on social media platforms. So it was about doing day in the life of like an intern, day in the life of a apprentice, and it was really good to get people motivated to like, oh yeah, you know what, post what you're doing at office on social media like LinkedIn, and later on maybe we were planning to go on TikTok and do a day in a life. So that was a very exciting project that I was part in. And also I did like the IT policy renewal. So we have an IT policy that all of our Siemens employee like governed by, or they are like they have to abide by it. So I was involved in renewing that policy. So it was a very big task, but the head of our IT, Miss Lydia Chamberlain, she was amazingly like supportive of like, you know what, you think it's a big project, but if you think you can do it, just start from somewhere, and we are there to support you. So that's the best thing. You don't have to be like know it all. You just have to have an open mind, be adaptive, and just inhale what people are telling around you. So that was really good. So I don't even know how my 12-month placement just went by so quickly. So yeah,
I do. It sounds like you didn't sleep for the whole 12 months.
It was amazing. Like I can't even tell you how much I loved being in office now that I'm back in Birmingham in my uni year. I miss being in office. I miss talking to everyone. Like, and it's such a good culture, like to be around your colleagues. You're talking, you're like ranting about something, but then you're doing a solution for the same thing, same project at the same time. And you're like, oh yeah, it was not that bad, honestly. So it's really good. And you feel that you have like, you feel like for me, it was always like be a girl boss. So you felt that power when you become, even as an intern, you think, oh, you're not going to do anything and you're just probably going to look at Excel spreadsheet, but that's such a misconception. It's such a thing of old times. You are actually going to be a part of a project that's going to make real change in your organization. And it's such empowering feeling. So yeah, I can brag about forever. But
no, I mean, it sounds amazing. And from everything that you said, you know, the amount of different things that you were involved in, the amount of different skills, you know, presenting to people and training on different technologies and, you know, the collaboration side of things as well. I mean, it just sounds like you know, you really got a lot out of it, but it also seems like you put a lot into it, which is probably why you got so much out. And I think Amy's nodding along like, exactly, this is what we want. And obviously that paid off because, you know, as we mentioned earlier on, you became intern of the year at Siemens. So can you tell us a little bit about what that is, how that came about, and obviously how you won?
Yeah, so I never worked to get an award. It was never my goal. I worked because I loved what I was doing, and my managers were amazing. So my manager Andrea, she's my girl best friend, but as a manager, she was like, Ananya, you know what? Do this project. You know what? If you want to do this, take it on. I'll tell you, you know, like take that project, and I'll figure out how you can go about it if you find any problem. So I was just loving my job. I was doing whatever I was doing, and I didn't realize that I got a bit of some projects in my portfolio. And then I saw this mail coming up that there is this Intern of the Year award category. And my manager was like, I'm going to nominate you, but I'm not telling you when I'm going to nominate so that you don't work for it. You just keep working how you're working. And I think my team was very supportive. So not just one nomination came through. I think 2 or 3 people nominated or something. And yeah, you just get shortlisted. Then you have to tell about what you have done in your internship. And as I told you, I just went on and on what I did, but you have to make a video of what you have done in your past 10 months or 12 months back then. And I went on, and I think people liked what I said. And I think you just have to say yes to the opportunity that's coming along that your way.
Yeah.
And personally, I struggle of saying no. That was not a good sign. But at the same time, it has a pros of it. If you say yes to opportunities, things unfold and you get into the things that you never expected. Like for me, winning the intern of the year, Amy was there. She was the host of our awards night, and she knows I was sitting next to a manager, and I was like, oh my god, there's so many brilliant candidates. I don't believe I'm gonna win. And she was like, you know what, Anana, go. What wrong can happen? You're already nominated. So when I won, I couldn't believe that. Oh, I won the award, and it was amazing. It was really good. And I think for me, everyone is intern, apprentice, and grad of the year. If you are open to get opportunity, it's not about single award. It's good to be recognized, but you should
Yeah.
not take it as the benchmark to do your work and loving your
No.
job.
Absolutely. And I think that, that's kind of what you said, that wasn't the reason for, why you were doing what you were doing. It was just a really nice reward at the end of it. And Amy, I'm just going to bring you back in here because the awards themselves, is that something that you do every single year at Siemens?
I'm really glad you've come back to me on this because I was just thinking this is a great segue into promoting our early careers gala, which is part of our overall Siemens Gala celebration, which happens every year. So we have the awards ceremony as part of that. So we have intern of the year, apprentice of the year, and graduate of the year. Just a brilliant opportunity to celebrate ending your early career scheme. It's just laughter, fun, you have a meal. It's just a lovely way to round up all the hard work that the early careers have been involved with. So it's another great perk of being in early careers at Siemens.
Absolutely. And again, it just kind of shows the emphasis and importance and, respect you give to those kind of early careers, which I know Carla's going to come on to talk to you about in a little while. But before, again, Valeria feels left out, I'm going to come and talk to you. So obviously we talked about the fact that you're on the graduate program. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the work and projects that you've been involved in? I know you mentioned you're working on HS2, but give us a little bit more detail and colour to that.
Yeah, so similar to Ben, I don't rotate around the business, but I rotate around the HS2 projects. So I've had the opportunity to rotate through different roles. So I did project management, planning, commercial, and this has helped a lot to understand like the roles and responsibilities of each one and how we become a team, and we do everything towards, doing the project successfully. So I've been doing that throughout my last 14 months. And yeah, so I've worked only on HS2 projects. As I mentioned before, I am now starting a new project on data transmission networks and radio systems.
Data transmission networks and radio systems. Give me some more details on that. What sort of things will you be doing in that?
Yeah, so we are at the early stage of the project. So I'm currently actually going 2 days a week to the Birmingham office of HS2. And it's a lot about interacting with the client, understanding what we are going to have to interface with, and try understand how can we deliver this project successfully. Obviously, we know HS2 has had delays and stuff like that. So we're working with HS2 to understand how we get the project on time. And there's so many working parties working together. So yeah, going to the Birmingham office gives us that opportunity not just to become a team in Siemens, but work with other companies and with HS2 to all deliver this massive project.
That's fantastic. And what amazing experience you must be getting there working on such a huge, high profile project and working with so many different companies, different levels of people, I imagine. It must be a real learning curve, at least.
Yeah, no, it's been great.
And how long are you going to be on this particular project for?
Well, hopefully this is a project that's going to carry me towards the end of my project. It all depends a bit of if we win any other projects, and some other projects that need a bit more help. I move around, but yeah, the plan I think is for me to stay in this one now.
Fantastic. And then when you come to the end of the grad scheme next year, what happens at that point? Will you be going into a completely different role, or will you be staying with HS2, or is that too far ahead in the future to know yet?
No, so the plan is for me to stay in the HS2 projects. That's what I've been currently being trained to achieve. So yeah, hopefully I'll stay as an engineer for data transmission networks and radio systems.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Valeria. It sounds like, again, you've learned and done so much in the last 12 months and still so much more to come in the next year or so. So thank you very much. Carla, I think you're going to nip back in here, aren't you?
I am, yes. Thank you, Sophie. And thank you everybody so much for doing. You took me by surprise when you said Carl. I was like, oh, right, yeah, this is my bit. There's a couple of things, Amy, that we've touched upon already in this webinar. So Ananya's experience as coming back after the internship programme during her final year at university. Anna, you did something similar as well, I believe. Is that something that's quite common now to Siemens? Is that something that you want to bring in more of?
So maybe not common yet, but I think it's definitely traveling more towards that way.
Yeah.
So within the past couple of years, I think a couple of managers led with it, and then word's gotten out and other managers have gone, oh, that's a good idea. I get to keep my amazing intern that's done so much over this 12 months, and they get to work part-time, build their skills, and they get to keep them while they're at university. So it's definitely a growing idea, and one that I think is really valuable for the business.
Absolutely, no brainer. So come on, engineering managers at Siemens, we all need to chip in and keep these interns for the final year. And a couple more questions. So when you've finished an internship or when you finish your graduate programme, are you, and everything goes well and everybody loves everybody, are you invited back as a graduate and to be full-time after your graduate programme?
I will answer this separately because it's a slightly different circumstance for interns versus graduates. So I'll be completely honest, we take on a lot of interns, and while we try and retain them in the business where we can, whether that's through a graduate scheme, so they go from, for example, a sustainability intern into the sustainability graduate scheme, or whether we find them an entry-level position, we will do that whenever we can. But there isn't always a corresponding graduate role for every intern position, so the path isn't always linear. Our graduate roles are a little bit different because we hire them as permanent. So you complete your 2-year grad scheme with progression into Siemens as more concrete. So we try wherever we can, but because we offer internships in such a wide variety of roles, it's not always possible.
Yeah, perfect. All positive news though. So Amy, think about early careers. How important are early careers to Siemens? Obviously massively important because of the journeys everybody's had so far on this webinar. But how important are they, and what is the future for early careers at Siemens?
Yeah, so absolutely huge is probably the short answer to your question. There are future talent pipeline, and at the end of the day, they're helping us to build the next generation of innovators and even leaders eventually. I think what's so special about early careers is that fresh perspective they bring, and the new ideas. They're able to shake up teams and help us to think differently. Focusing on the second part of your question, and this will align with my previous response as well, we're aiming for sustainable growth of our early careers community. So as truly valuable as they are, future planning is important, and we want to bring in talent that has potential to go far in Siemens, but we only want to bring in talent where there's meaningful work for those individuals to complete. We don't want anyone making cups of tea. So we'll always try and expand wherever possible. And I know from a recruiter perspective, it's always so rewarding to see a new team that's taken on a new intern or graduate, and the difference it's made in their team and the value that they see.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell that, Amy, because you've just been sat smiling all the way through this webinar. Everybody's stories. And it is so personal to you, isn't it, as a recruiter, to see somebody who you recruited and the success story that they've brought to the team and everything else, which is just amazing. And so thank you, Amy, for that. And what I want to do, Ben, is I'm just going to loop you in just quickly. So as a degree apprentice at Siemens, what made you choose to do a degree apprenticeship over going to, for example, university? Why did you choose to go into that route?
Yeah, so I'd say probably about 2 years before I applied for the role, I'd never heard of degree apprenticeships.
Yeah.
I'd say my sixth form never really advertised the possibility of them. And I think probably over the past few years, they've become a much more well-known
Yeah, absolutely.
route and path. I had just a friend's brother who went into a degree apprenticeship, and he's actually, funnily enough, doing the exact same scheme
Oh,
I'm on.
really? Yeah.
But it's because it wasn't for Siemens, but Siemens provides this scheme for external apprentices too. And I heard about that, and I heard about what he was doing, and it sounded right up my street with the physics and maths based academic side of things, and then the programming, and then the general day-to-day life. And I think when I boil it down, it's just like a few short words. It'll probably just be like the mixture of working on site and learning on the side as well. The networking opportunities, being in the industry itself for 4 years before you even
Yeah, absolutely.
receive the qualification, and also I wasn't that bothered about not being in debt at the end of it with
Yeah.
university, and that is a contributing factor, but that's not something someone should mainly focus on. It's definitely depends on the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Ben. And Sophie, I love that phraseology as well. Thanks for that, Ben. I'm going to come back to you now, Sophie, and just to ask the last few questions.
Thanks very much, Carla. Yeah, we've heard quite a lot now about kind of what you've been up to and the day-to-day lives, but I like to always kind of bring in a bit more of the social side of things, starting a new job fresh out of university or joining as an intern degree apprentice. It's quite a daunting thing. You want to kind of know what life outside of that is. So I'm going to go backwards on this one. So Valeria, I'm going to start with you to find out a little bit more about, what is life outside of the day-to-day job like at Siemens? What sort of things do you get up to?
Yeah, so first I want to say that it is a bit nerve-wracking coming into such a big company, but something that I found Siemens does really well is as a graduate, you come in and you stay a week together with all the graduates that came in the same year. So it's a great opportunity to learn, like get to know everyone that's come in. I got to meet the 5 other people that were based in Ashby, and we became such a good group of friends. So I do spend and we do quite a lot of activities together after work because we've moved all over the country to work in Siemens. So that is such a good bond that we've created through Siemens.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so other things I do, it's very, as I said, it's hybrid. So you get to work at home sometimes or during the office. You can be flexible with the timings as well. And yeah, I love going to the gym and going on walks. Ashby's a really like nature focused place, so it's really nice being able to go on walks and do things with friends. When it was nicer weather, do picnics and stuff like that.
It's a short window we get here, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's great. And I think just picking up on one of the points you made there about, Ashby being quite rural and, having that, being able to get out into nature. But the benefit of working for someone like Siemens is that there's so many different locations that whether you like the city life or whether you like working more rurally, there is an option and, an office really that will suit everyone, which is a really, really nice because some people like the city, like Carla. And some people like, a more rural lifestyle. So it's good to have that kind of option. I just wanted to jump on something you said kind of earlier on in that, Valeria, about this week that you spend at the beginning. So every graduate goes and stays somewhere together during that week. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'll speak for Siemens Mobility. We go and we stay a week in Northampton where we have like a training center. So we'll do our like 9 to 5. We'll have training. We'll learn about the company. We get to meet different senior people that are working in the business. They give you
Mm.
like few tips and tricks about things you need to know about timesheets and how to book your annual leave and all those type of thing. But then during the night as well, we have different dinners and different activities. One of the days was also just a fun day out. We went and did like paintball and canopying and stuff like that, just to get to know each other. And yeah, so we all stayed in the same hotel, so meant we were 24/7 together, and so we had breakfast together, and
Yeah,
it was great to just have that first week to network with everyone, and we were all in the same boat
absolutely.
basically.
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant start, isn't it? And like you
Yeah.
said, you kind of really thrown into it there, meeting loads of new people and also, but really getting to know them very well because you are in, together almost all the time. So yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Valeria. And Anya, going to come to you now about your kind of experience of starting on your internship and, what sort of things you could get up to outside of that as well, if you had any
Yeah,
time, which I'm not sure you
yeah,
did.
yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not, it's so much changed now. Everyone is so cool, if that's the
Mhm.
word for it. Like, everyone will go for socials. We have
Yeah.
like in poolside, we have poolside social events, and we used to go
Mhm.
for pub quizzes every 2 months. It's like second Monday. We used to go as a quiz team and do pub quiz together. We
Nice.
used to go out for like volunteering days. Volunteering days is amazingly socializing event, like with your
Mm.
colleagues. You do something that you don't do 9 to 5. Like one time we went out to clean the beach in Bournemouth. And that was
Mm.
such a good activity. You just clean the beach together, you spend time, and then you end up having food together. That was something that we don't do 9 to 5. So that was different. And then beside that, I, as an intern, we did like 3 days Brathe trip. I don't know if I can tell this about, but it's early careers. You or like apprentices, graduates, and like interns. We all go together to this district up in north, and we stay there in a very you can say it was basically nature. We lived
Mm.
there for 3 days, and we did all sort of activities from waterfall climbing to hiking together. And like you found like your group of friends in
Mm.
there, because you are in such a vulnerable but still at the same time you're doing the teamwork.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you are like sorted out in teams, and you're like, oh yeah, you team A is going to go to do hiking today, and we are just like trying to push each other, you know what, one more step and we
Mm.
are up on the top. So that
Wow.
was a really good experience. Like for 3 days we
Yeah.
were like having lunches together, dinners together, and we were told to stay away from our phones because the network over there was not the best. And that's the
Mhm.
beauty of it. You just stay away from your phone, social media, and just enjoy nature together with other
Yeah.
Siemens. Like, and that too is very early of your journey of your early careers. So
Mhm.
you just get to know people, and it's so fun. And I
Yeah.
found all of my friends at Siemens from that trip. And also, Siemens is very good in sending you to other sites. Like I
Mhm.
went to Manchester sites, like I don't know, like 3 or 4 times, and you stay there and meet other interns, colleagues at different sites.
Mhm.
It's a really good experience, yeah, in terms of
Fantastic.
social
Yeah.
side of it. So really
Great.
good. Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. And it sounds like, just like Valeria said, you had a really, really, kind of bespoke experience 3 days away. And then, but there's also lots of other things going on all the time that you're able to get involved in. So that's really nice to hear. Ben, I don't know whether there's anything different that you did as a degree apprentice. Do you have like a cohort of degree apprentices that you hang out with? Do you hang out with the interns and the grads? Do you all kind of get involved? How does that work in your world?
Yeah, so I'd copy what Ananya said as well about
Mhm.
Brefe. So
Mhm.
the residential trip is a great start for all early career professionals. For your first week in a job to spend on like sort of a residential style trip, it really does relax you out, and yeah, it gives you
Yeah.
a good start and it's a good time. And but I'd just say, yeah, in the day-to-day general life as well, everyone's typically very warm. Everyone's
Mhm.
appreciative of the fact that you're in early career and wants to help you as well.
Right.
And yeah, there's a great little network of early career professionals. All the apprentices, grads, and interns, we're all good friends up in Manchester, all sit together. But then also, when you're going through your placements as well, for example, with me, with doing 3 month placements, I was constantly changing teams, but I
Yeah.
always felt welcome and like a part of the team when I was on those placements as well, which is really quite important to not just look like
Yeah.
left on the side.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been fantastic to hear all about your experiences, both in the kind of day-to-day work life, but also, the things that you get up to kind of outside of that. But I am going to head back over to Carla now to find out how we can get the job.
Yeah, absolutely. No phone network. That's just ringing in my ears. That's just like pure joy to me. Is that so I might have to move. You can tell me where it is afterwards, Amy. So yeah, thank you everybody for giving us your insight to your career journey so far at Siemens. And now what I'd like to do is talk about the application process. So Amy, we've mentioned you've got some roles on your hub on Gradcracker right now, but you do have others opening. You mentioned throughout October to the end of October as well. So don't forget to follow Siemens on the Gradcracker website to be alerted to new opportunities when they go live, and get your applications into one of those opportunities which is currently open. So Amy, talk to me about the application process. What does that look like?
Absolutely. So, as you've kindly already mentioned, the easiest way to find all our vacancies in one place is the Gradcracker Hub. So if you search for open vacancies, and you can be sent directly to our website with the Apply Now button if you find a role that's of interest to you. Again, going to mirror you because it is important. My top tip is to get your application in early, because we do close our adverts based on demand and number of applications. So I would hate for anyone to miss out. So make sure that you get your application in sooner rather than later. In terms of initial application, we hire for potential in Siemens, so especially in early careers. So please use your initial application to highlight traits, qualities, and just your enthusiasm, and to show your potential to grow and succeed. If successful at initial application stage, you'll be invited to complete our Arctic Shores games-based assessment. Which sounds fun, games-based assessment, and we do get feedback that it is very fun. And you'll be asked to complete a series of short activities that will measure your skills and traits. Following from that, some roles may include an on-demand video interview stage where we will give you questions to record answers to. And then the final stage will either be a live interview or assessment centre. Importantly, our recruitment team will support candidates every step of the way, and we provide hints, tips, and guidance to help you perform at your best within the regular communications that you'll receive. And finally, just to mention a hot topic at the moment, which is the use of AI in applications. So we are happy for applicants to use AI tools to enhance their applications. As Ananya mentioned, we've got our own AI in Siemens. We're not shying from it. We love AI. So whether you want to use it to help conduct initial research or check grammar and structure, but please do not rely on AI to write your application for you, because we're seeing more and more applications like this that are clearly AI generated, and we want to see the authentic you and your genuine motivations and aspirations. And actually, at a time where the use of AI is rising, there's a real opportunity to stand out by making your application as genuine as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important to get across to the students, Amy, that it's Amy and the lovely early careers team at Siemens who are looking at every single application. It is humans at the end, at the Siemens end, who is looking at the applications. And also, like Amy mentioned, it is really apparent if you do use AI. These people, the early careers team, they sift thousands and thousands of applications every year. And if you do use AI, it is immediately obvious to them. So yeah, please bear that in mind when you put your application together. And I've got a couple of questions, Amy, if I can just ask you these from students who've submitted questions before the webinar. So thank you everybody for submitting your questions. There've been some really, really good ones. Me and Sophie were struggling to choose which ones we're going to ask during this webinar. But Amy, killer question is, what qualities make an application successful or stand out to you at Siemens?
Great question. So a few points. First one, motivation and enthusiasm. We want to see why Siemens, why you're excited about Siemens and the specific role that you're applying for. Linking to my previous point, passion and enthusiasm go a long way. We're looking for genuine interest and excitement over polish, although please keep it professional at the same time. Secondly, do your research. It's great if you can demonstrate that you've taken the time to understand Siemens as a company, and if you're making reference to any of our values, projects, initiatives that you have stood out during your research, that's really great as well.
Yeah.
And finally, be authentic. Again, it's early careers. We're not expecting perfection. We're just looking for potential. So please let your personality shine through in your application.
Yeah, definitely. There's many ways that you can show you've done your research to Amy and Amy's team. Show that you've watched this webinar as well. Reference this webinar, reference everybody's journeys so far on this webinar as well. These are the sorts of things that Amy will be looking out for. And now from a technical aspect, Amy. So Alaya from the University of York, studying electrical and electronic engineering. Thank you, Alaya, for your question. What kind of technical questions are there during the interview process?
Good question. So our early careers interviews are strengths-based. So they'll primarily focus on qualities such as communication, collaboration, other key behaviours. However, there may be one or two technical questions thrown in there depending on the role. However, we always work with the interview managers as the recruitment team to define these to make sure they're accessible for an early careers audience. That's because they're not there to catch you out.
Yes.
We're purely checking that your background aligns with the role requirements and you've got that foundational knowledge to set you up for success in the role.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Thank you very much, Amy. And what we're going to do now is come to a quick fire round, love the quick fire round, and talk about top tips about what you would give to students starting out on a career with Siemens. So, Ben, I hope these are all different, actually. If they're not different, the last few have to think on your feet. Ben, I'm going to come to you. So, what would be your top tip about how students can be successful?
I'd say just be enthusiastic and try and move towards what you enjoy. It's always a lot easier if you enjoy something and you're working hard towards something. Enthusiasm always comes through.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that one. Thanks, Ben. Valeria. I'm changing the way I'm asking these now to keep people on the toes. Valeria, what would your top tip be?
I think I would say be yourself. I think that's something that my manager always said that stood out to him. He loved how I was just nice and I was clearly happy to be in the interview. So yeah, just be yourself.
Lovely. Thank you, Valeria. Nanya?
Yeah, just be active, show proactivism, and have that mindset that opportunities won't just come along your way. You have to grab it. You have to be curious, and you have to seek out for opportunities than just waiting for it to come at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're changing some of these Siemens values here, Amy. What would what would be your top tip?
So, as someone who is still early in their career, I know firsthand that often we can focus on what we're going to gain in terms of experience from working at a company such as Siemens. But actually, you also need to think about what you can bring to Siemens. You're all unique. You all have strengths, experiences that make you stand out. And you'll each have a personal brand. So try and find that personal brand, what makes you you. And reminding yourself of this should hopefully give you the confidence to work hard and bring your best self to work. And that's how you're going to make an impact.
Yeah, what makes you you? Love it. Perfect ended, Amy, to the webinar. So thank you very much for that. And thank you everybody for joining us today. Hopefully we've given you an insight into Siemens and the different types of opportunities which are open for you, our STEM students, to apply for. So just a reminder, we've got degree apprenticeships, we've got placements, internships and graduate opportunities, all currently live on the Siemens Hub on Gradcracker, and we've got lots more to come. Amy was smiling away, then she's thinking, we do have lots more to come, and that my workload is just going to escalate over the next couple of weeks. But definitely there is something for everybody. There's some amazing locations, amazing projects that you can be working on as an early careers person at Siemens. So don't forget as well, this webinar will be live on the Siemens Hub on Gradcracker by the end of the day today, and we'll also break the webinar down into bite-sized chunks as well, so you can go and listen again to maybe Ben's projects that he's worked on, or everybody's different experiences that they've had so far. So thank you all, it's been amazing. Join us this Thursday when it's me and Jessica. Jessica's back to speak to global power technology company Cummins. Register your interest to attend that webinar, submit your questions, and we'll see you all again on Thursday. But thank you very much, Siemens, and we'll speak to you all later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, bye.